Hey, my name is Santiago Alvarez, and in this video, I'm going to be covering the 6 ways you can increase lead quality for your law firm. So this is an issue that a lot of different law firms face, whether it's personal injury, whether it's estate planning, whether it's family law. It seems like all of them seem to have an issue with lead quality at times. So if you don't know who I am, I run a company called Ad Hoc Digital. We basically do all sorts of marketing for law firms and only law firms. So because of this, I'm going to talk you through the 6 methods that we look to implement for our own clients in the order that they work the best in. So to start, the very first thing is looking at your marketing messaging and who are you speaking to. Now, this is a very obvious one, but it truly makes the biggest difference. If you're running advertising campaigns for, let's just say, for example, family law, and it's generic isn't good. You need to be specific. You need to talk to only one audience. The more niche, the better. Same with, like, for example, personal injury. If all of your marketing is just generic PI, you're going to be getting all sorts of different stuff. And I guarantee that you have certain types of cases that you prefer over others. So for example, if you prefer auto accidents, niche down into that. If you prefer something even more niche, like for example, only car accidents, it can't just be any auto vehicle or motor vehicle. Do that. If it's only truck, do that. This is a very obvious one, but sometimes it's heavily overlooked. Now, the second one is definitely a juicy one. So this is income-based targeting. So I got this idea from a client that I was talking to who didn't even know that this was possible. So this is possible on several different advertising platforms, but in this video, I'm just going to show you how you can do it on Google Ads. So if we come here to an account, you can see that we can when creating a campaign, you can segment based on an audience, right? And there's different audience segments. So for example, who they are, you can select based on parental status, whether they're parents of infants, teens, etc., whether they're married, single, right? This could be especially relevant for family law, their education level, their highest level of educational attainment, their home ownership status, employment, like the company size, the industry. These are just some of the options that you have available. But for more specific, actual income-based targeting, you can go here and have a look. So in this client's ad account, we are actually changing it to only target the top 10% with an experiment. So for their services, they have quite a large minimum retainer. And what we found is that when people just were not very high income earners, they just could not afford it. The lower 50% just most of the time could not afford it. And even though you see here, there were a few conversions that came in through that, a lot of it didn't seem correct with Google's data. But this is some targeting that you can do. So for example, if you have a very large minimum retainer and you know that a majority of the population won't be able to afford your services, why would you advertise to them? You're just wasting your money showing to ads that people that have no money. It just doesn't make any sense. You want to only show your ads to people that can actually use your services and are actually going to be qualified. Otherwise, you're just going to be getting people opting in and they're just going to waste your time. They're going to ask you a question. They're going to go to a consultation. They're going to hear the price and they're just going to say, oh my God, I only have $500 in my bank account. Like, I thought this was free. For some reason, it seems like a lot of people think legal services are free. Like, they're just calling up, the lawyer's on call, ready to answer their calls, ready to answer any question. It doesn't work like that. So income targeting can work really, really well, especially for the practice areas that are retainer based. If it's more like personal injury, actually a lot of the time targeting the lower works better than targeting upper, because the upper, it seems like they already have a network where they already know an attorney, and the lower just don't know, and then they're more likely to take action on something based on search. So keep that in mind. And for example, I can just show you here, this is how you can edit the demographics. So this is for an estate planning campaign and also trust. And for example, you may want to exclude younger people as well. But for the income-based one, as you can see, we might exclude the lower 50%, the 41 to 50, 31 to 40, etc., and only target the top 30%. That might be what could help you. So on to the third one. This is location-based targeting. So it's similar to income-based targeting. You can do this with several different advertising platforms. We're just going to show it for Google Ads in this example though. This can work really well if you know that there's certain locations that tend to be more profitable for you. If there's some that tend to be less profitable for you and you get more junk from there, you can target based on this. This can make a big difference, but you need to have the data and actually know this. So as you can see here, we're in a Google Ads campaign and then we're looking at Los Angeles. So when you're targeting Los Angeles, you might understand that for whatever reason, whenever you get someone from Burbank, maybe they just keep wasting your time and you just do not want anyone from Burbank to come for whatever reason. Maybe Glendale is amazing though. So what you can do is if you go show all areas, you can actually come here and you can select Burbank, or you can select individual zip codes, and you can include them or exclude them. So let's just say you want to include this one. You also want to include here, not the whole district. You might want to exclude all of Los Angeles except for this area. You might want to include just a few suburbs. That way you're not showing your ads to people that can't even use your services, or that you just know most of the time they're just not serious. This is something that can really help a lot. Next, the fourth one is increasing commitment from prospect pre-consult. So this means that the prospect has either contacted your firm via phone call, or they have filled out a form and gotten in touch with your firm. And that way, after you already have their information, you want to increase the commitment from the prospect prior to actually attending the consult. So this is not directly from the marketing side, but from more so the conversion from lead to client side. So in this regard, what we do, and it works really well, is get prospects to do a questionnaire prior to attending the consult. And it can be quite a comprehensive questionnaire. And if someone isn't willing to fill it out before a consult, it is actually unlikely that they were ever going to be serious to begin with. This obviously doesn't apply to all different practice areas, but we have seen it work very well, especially, and it also helps kickstart the relationship in a really good way. Because if you think about it, the prospect is coming into the consultation, they're quite bought in, they have a high level of commitment because they've spent time filling out this questionnaire. You have a lot of information so you can hit the ground running. It makes sense from two different ways. You might even convert more people that do this, and you might also save some time. So consider it. It can work really well. If you're wondering what to do, you can set up a simple Google form. If you don't know anything else, they're free. Otherwise, if you have your intake software, sometimes you can do it with that, but it can work really well. Next is the fifth point, which is adding friction actually pre-opt-in. So this is pre-consult after they have submitted. This is pre-opt-in. So if you're getting a lot of people opting in and your team is wasting hours of their day talking to all of them, what you might want to do is add friction prior to that. So how do you do it? It's very simple. With a form example, like if you just have it more fields. So the less fields you have, the cheaper your cost per lead is going to be, but the lower the quality is going to be. So if you just have name, email, phone number, message, for example, might be one of your cheapest ones. If you just have name and email, it might be even cheaper than that. But you can just slowly increase it. Name, email, phone number, message. You might add, what are they contacting about? How did they hear about your firm? And specific qualifying factors based on that. So if you're a personal injury firm, you might put in what type of injury is it? Okay, maybe it's a car accident. Then based on that, okay, were you at fault? Was there a police report? Did you get the other driver's insurance, etc.? Things like that. So this can make a big difference as well, but it will seriously increase your cost per lead. So because of that, we typically look at these things first, because the approach that we like to have with this is that you want to have the opportunity to reach out to as many leads as you possibly can. If everyone is opting in, you get to decide whether you take them on or not. But if they're not opting in, you don't even get that decision. So this one we would advise most people don't do. But if you're dealing with so many opt-ins, you're a small firm, you have a small team, you're just seriously overwhelmed and you don't have any time, this is something that you can consider. And finally, for the sixth one, it is free versus paid consultation. So this should come at no surprise as well. If you offer a paid consultation, the quality of the people are going to be higher. Obviously, this is for the practice areas that are relevant for paid consultations. Not all of them are. For example, with personal injury, free is extremely common. But it can really make a big difference. That being said, similar to the number 5, it will seriously decrease the number of opt-ins that you get. And in practice, we have always seen it that it increases cost per case. So if you can avoid it, do it. I would do it as a very last resort. Paid consultation can be like extremely well. It can have really high conversion rates, but you just need to manage with the price. And obviously, if you start off with like a very small amount, like a $50, you're going to get more quantity than if you do like a $500. We've experimented with a huge range. A $500 consult, almost all of the people that pay, unsurprisingly, end up retaining. That being said, the quantity drops so much. So it's something that you have to keep in mind. And then I have a bonus that I actually want to talk about. So you need to ask yourself, is it really a lead quality issue or is it actually an intake issue? A lot of the firms that we work with, it's actually an intake issue. It's not really a lead quality issue. They think, oh my God, these leads suck. Well, you're calling them a day after. These leads are qualified. they're just choosing to work with someone else. It's not that they're not serious about working with a lawyer. It's not that they don't have a matter that you can actually take on. It's the fact that you're either too slow, you're not convincing enough, you're just doing something wrong, and the person isn't choosing you, they're choosing someone else. This happens a lot. The biggest thing is speed. If you're slow, it takes you several days to get back to your leads, you call them once, that's it, you don't really follow up. It might not be a lead quality issue, it's actually an intake issue. Similarly, if you're just terrible on the phone, or the team members that you have are terrible on the phone, they just couldn't persuade anyone to do anything. Like, they're always just going to go find another firm that actually gives them that security, that certainty. Because to make that decision, you need to have certainty and clarity. You need to understand how the process will work, and you need to have certainty that you can actually trust the attorney that you're going to work with. Sometimes these matters can be extremely expensive. It can be one of their biggest expenses. Other times it can just be extremely meaningful. So it's a big decision. You need to give them a lot of certainty. So you need to train your staff to be quick, diligent, and they also have to be quite persuasive. So if you're interested in getting strategies for that, I'm very open to making a video on how we consult our clients on that. But I hope this video provided you with some value. It's just the 6 ways that we normally do to increase lead quality for law firms. We would start with number 1 and work our way down. And the first 3 are the main ones that we use. 4 works really well. And then 5 and 6, I would be careful with implementing. And before you start blaming lead quality, maybe you say, oh my God, my marketing company sucks, their leads suck. Look at this. It could be an intake issue as opposed to a lead quality issue. That being said, like, sometimes lead quality is just going to be bad, and you need to have realistic expectations as to what it's going to be like. You can't expect every single lead to come through that's going to just hire you the next day. It doesn't work like that. You need to have your expectations in the right place. Be humble, recognize that it could be an intake issue, and once you have it dialed in intake, well, then it really might be a lead quality issue, and you can just work through these. So if you like this video, hit like, it really helps. If you want to keep watching some of these videos, just hit subscribe, and then you'll get more videos from this channel. I will put above a link to our law firm marketing guide, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you very much.